Okay, very good, Dhruva. Thank you, thank you. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. We'll start the session for today. Thank you for joining us. I hope the screen is visible to all of you. And let me just disable the chat here for the time being. So, everyone together, please. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatade Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Everyone together, please. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you all for joining us for another session of Mahabharata. So, if we just take a look at a quick recap, we have been discussing Mahabharata from last probably close to a month. Of course, we have not had sessions every day this time, unlike for Ramayana. I have been doing 3 sessions per week with all of you. But so far, there are 18 parvas, and so far we have covered 5 parvas in around 15 episodes. And in 16th episode, or I believe 16th or 17th episode onwards, we started our discussion on Bhishma Parva, which is the first parva of the Battle of Kurukshetra. And Drona, Karna, and Shalya Parva are all of the parvas of Battle of Kurukshetra. And after this, there are other remaining 8 parvas or 9 parvas that we shall continue to discuss as we move ahead. So, in Bhishma Parva, as we discussed yesterday, Lord Shri Krishna speaks to Arjuna, and that message on the battlefield of Kurukshetra at the beginning of the war is titled as Bhagavad Gita. So yesterday, when we met, we had discussed about what is Bhagavad Gita, why should I read Bhagavad Gita, and how can I understand Bhagavad Gita, or how to study. So 3 things: what, why, and how. So what means what is Bhagavad Gita? Why should I study? And third, how to study. And the 4th subject matter that we discussed yesterday was about what are the 5 subject matters of Bhagavad Gita. So does anyone remember what are the 5 subject matters of Bhagavad Gita? I will enable the chat. And in case somebody wants to speak also, we can have the option for you to speak. Vishwakiran Prabhu, are you around? Okay. So let's see what are the 5 subject matters. Vishwakiran Prabhu, if you're around, if somebody is raising his hand or her hand, you can unmute them.
Okay,
and they can speak up. So if anyone wants to give an answer, you can raise your hand. Vishwakiran Prabhu would unmute you and you can speak the answer. Or else you can type in your answer. So Varuni, Jiva, Kala, Karma, Ishwar, Prakriti. Correct. Those are the answers. So no worries. We'll have more interactions ahead as we continue. So there are 5 subject matters that we saw, or that Bhagavad Gita talks about: Ishwara, Jiva, Kala, Karma, and Prakriti. And these 5 subject matters are very, very important for all of us to understand. Of course, I know some of you are younger, some of you are just 8 to 10 year old, and many of you are more than 10 years. Can I just quickly know how many of you are elder than 10 years? Can you just type in your age in the chat box? The chat box is enabled, so I get to know exactly what are the age group, because we have almost 60, 70 of you attending sessions. So I don't know the age of everyone. So can you please write down your age? What's your age? How many of you are elder than 10 years? So in other words, it's a very important and a very beautiful subject matter. And we'll discuss this 5 subject matters in the 5 sessions, starting from today. So today we're going to talk about the very first subject matter, Ishvara. And the next time when we meet, we'll talk about Jiva. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita defines who Ishwar is. And Krishna says, and this is a homework verse for all of you. This is 7th chapter, 7th verse of Bhagavad Gita. I will share the slide with you all on the WhatsApp. Matha parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvam vidam protam sutre manigana iva. And here Lord Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna, hey Arjuna, hey Dhananjaya. Yesterday we have discussed the meaning of what Dhananjaya. Remember? And also we have discussed the meaning of what Rishikesh and Rakrodha. So here Krishna says, hey Arjuna, O conqueror of wealth, Mataha Parataram Nanya, there is nothing superior to me. I am the supremost. There is no truth superior to me, which means he is the cause of all causes. Who? Lord Shri Krishna. And Krishna says that everything is hanging on me, just like this pulse on my neck beat are hanging on a thin string. So Krishna says everything in this creation is dependent on him. And today's subject matter will discuss about this particular subject is, does God really exist? Is it true that God exists? And if yes, then what are the evidences? So this is a verse for our reference for today's session, where Krishna says he is the cause of all causes and he is the supreme Lord. So let's begin with our today's topic and today's discussion. This is episode 19. We are in Bhishma Parva, and the topic is, does God exist? Which is one of the themes of Bhagavad Gita, the very first theme. So when people talk about God, you would be often challenged by your friends and relatives and whatnot, where they will tell you, oh, you believe in God? Do you have any evidence for it? So let's start with the one small story, and then we'll give you more evidences. So once upon a time, a man went to a barber shop. So he had a long beard and he wanted the beard to be trimmed. So he went to a barber shop and the barber began to work on his beard to trim the beard. And they both began to speak to each other. During the course of the conversation, the barber and this customer began to interact, and the discussion came upon the subject of God. The customer believed in God and the barber did not believe in God. The customer asked the barber, why do you say God does not exist? The barber said to the customer, my dear sir, if you think God exists, then why there would be so much suffering? Why there would be so many sick people outside? If God ever existed, then why would God make us, his own sons and daughters, suffer so much? The customer said, all right, what can I say? He didn't know an answer for it. He couldn't give any strong response, yet he had a belief. So his beard was trimmed. He got up, he paid to the barber, and he left the shop. When he reached to the corner of the street, there this customer or this person saw another man who had a long, dirty hairs, who had a big, unkempt beard, and he was very filthy looking, dirty looking person. As soon as a customer, this man saw that person, he immediately ran back to the barber shop and he called on to the barber. He said, barber, come here. And the barber said, yes, sir, what happened? And he said, the customer told the barber, you know what? I have something to tell you. The barber said, yes, what do you want to tell me, sir? I want to tell you that the barbers don't exist. And the barber was surprised. He said, what do you mean, sir? I just worked on your beard. I just trimmed your beard. Why do you say like this? And the customer said, I say so because if barbers would have existed, then we would not have people like him wandering on the street. You see that person on the corner of the street? He has a long, unkempt, dirty hairs. Look at his beard, how dirty and unclean he is. If the barbers existed, then we will not have such kind of people on the street. And immediately barber responded, come on, you cannot blame me. How can you blame me for so much situation? We exist, I exist, but this person does not come to me. What is my fault? And at that point of time, the customer said to the barber, my dear sir, that's the whole idea. God exists. But people do not go to God. People do not call out for the help from God. They just say the God does not exist. If just like this person would come to you, you will trim his beard, you will cut his hairs, and you will take care of him. Similarly, if man approaches God, then God would help him. But the man does not approach God. Because the today's education system, the education that you all are undergoing, the education that I underwent in my school and the college, tells us God is not there. God is dead. This whole creation has happened by chance, or the Big Bang Theory. The evolution of the species, or the existence of species, is because of Darwin's theory and whatnot idea they give. So, our question here for all of you today: does God really exist? And if yes, what are the evidences? However, before I go ahead, I would like to quickly see if you all can switch on your video. I would like to see how many of you actually believe in God. How many of you believe God exists? Please raise your hands higher. And I would request all of you to switch on your video so we can see what's your response here. So raise your hands, maybe both the hands higher, if you say God exists. Higher. I want to see both the hands. Okay, okay. Keep it up, just so that I see. Oh my goodness, what a fantastic response. You are the first audience I ever had who gave me 100% hands up. Because oftentimes when I ask, some people will say, no, I don't believe. But we have such a brilliant and intelligent kids. They all believe God exists. So fantastic. Is there anyone who says, I don't believe? I need some evidences? You can say like this. You can put your thumb down. If you say, I don't believe, I would need some evidences. All of you have your thumbs up right now. Okay, okay, great. So let's take a look. All right, let's begin with the session again, or begin with the presentation again. Here is our presentation. So fantastic. Of course, I don't have all the time to interact with all of you and to ask all of you the reasons because of which you believe God exists. However, I'm going to give you some reasons. And I hope you have pen and paper so you can write down some things. Okay? So let's begin with some reasons. Does God really exist? Some fundamental questions. And not the fundamental question, the very first evidence. Creation implies a creator. You see, this is my pen, and all of you in your school would be using a pen, pencil, notebook, and anything and everything. You might, you have a laptop in front of you, you may have a smartphone using. So everything has been created by somebody, right? Nothing has just come by chance. It's a very simple thing. Let me give you an example which is more relatable to all of us. Once again, let's get back to all of you again. How many of you, again, switch on your cameras, so let's take a response. How many of you had taken part in the painting competition that we had organized recently? Raise your hands both higher. So I see that. Oh, really? So many of you. Great. And how many of you actually won the painting competition? Maybe the first, second, third, the consolation prize. How many of you got the prizes? Oh, Haripriya, Panchal, Utkarsh, Nandakrishna, Ishita. Okay. Paki got it. No, Chandrika had got the prize. Goddess Sundar have got the prize. No worries. We're going to have soon another competition for all of you. And whoever won the prize this time, I would not consider them much. I'll give consideration to others. Okay. Okay, let's go back to the screen again. So, as you all had taken part in the painting competition, most of you had taken part. So, here is my question to all of you, and you can use a chat box to write down your answer. All right? And my question to all of you is, if you have to draw, let's say this is a beautiful flower, and you want to paint this flower or draw this flower, what all do you need? Please quickly write down your answer. You want to make a beautiful, colorful painting. What do you all need? And you say the color paper, the paint, the crayons, and whatnot. Fantastic. Please don't send a message to me privately. You can send it onto the group. All of you can change the setting from private to everything or everyone, okay? So those who are typing in the message, please change your setting to everyone because all of your messages are coming to me right now. Okay, all right. But all of you have forgotten something very essential. You may have the colors, you may have the paper, but if you don't have a painter, how would the painting happen, isn't it? Isn't it? And all of you missed out the painter himself or herself. So even to draw artificial flower, we need a paper, we need a color, and the most importantly, an artist. Do you all agree? Yes? Raise your hands if we agree. We need an artist. Just to draw an artificial flower, we need an artist. Look around. You see sleek cars, somebody has manufactured it, isn't it? Elegant mobiles, somebody have designed it. Wonderful sculptures, someone has carved it. So my point here is we have this massive creation around us. For all of this thing, there is a creator. For this whole creation, isn't there going to be any creator? This whole creation. If not, please take a look at this beautiful creation around and think for yourself. Such a vast and massive creation can happen or can exist without the presence of anyone? Is it really ever possible? If not, just watch this beautiful creation of the Lord and then answer if creation is possible without the Creator. Are you all able to hear the sound? The sound of the video? Yes or no? The sound of the video is audible? Okay, great. Oops. Look at this beautiful creation. From the birds to the creepers to the flowers. Such a magnificent creation of the Lord. Can this whole creation happen by chance? Can this creation manifest on its own? Unfortunately, this is what our science books tells us. So if anyone ever challenges you, does God exist? You tell them these examples and ask them, could this creation be there without a creator? Or has anyone ever seen anything which is without a creator? Starting from a source such a simple thing as like the spirit. Look at this honeybees. So beautifully they collect the honey and come and feed the honey to the honeycomb. The Lord has provided for everyone's sustenance. And that is the first proof. Creation means creator. There is nothing in this world which has come by chance. So how can this beautiful creation could come by chance? Let's proceed. Let's go to the second point. Proof number 2. Law implies lawmaker. Hare Krishna. I guess this is better for me. So law implies, all of you go to school, right? And do you have certain law in your school? How many of you have heard that if you get late going to school, then you are punished? Do you have a late fee if you go late to the school? Yes or no? Right? There would be a punishment or there would be something if you go late. And when you are absent, Utkarsh says there is nothing. Huh? You can go anytime, Utkarsh. Yes, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Prabhuji, because in our school, if somebody has some problem, they have to inform the teacher and they can come in middle also.
Fine, but if you don't inform the teacher, But
Then
if you
we have punishment.
yeah, the law is there, right?
Yes.
So the punishment, which means the law is there. That's the whole point. So all of you have an experience of it. So that's the whole idea. Now, when you have that law, Utkarsh, in your school, it means that law has been made by somebody, right? The law is made by your headmaster or the principal, isn't it? And that's the whole idea. Look at this world. You know, all of you have seen there are traffic laws. When you're driving with your father in your car on the street, the traffic signal, all of you are aware of it. And when it is green, you drive ahead. So there is a law, which means there is a lawmaker. Similarly, in this creation from the atoms, I'm not talking about the science of atoms because all of you would not have studied by now. Probably it's a subject matter of 8th, 9th, and 10th. So from micro world, okay, Utkarsh, some of you have studied, fantastic. So from micro world to the macro world, after the end of the session today, I believe it's a little rainy season here. You can't see the sky, a clear sky. But next time when you go, when it's a clear sky, look at the tremendous and the vast amount of stars floating in the sky. And among this vast universe, we are also one of the planets. So who is ensuring that this planet Earth, which is constantly revolving and constantly rotating, or sorry, rotating and revolving, does not meet an accident? Who controls that? Which simply means that if there is a law, there has to be a lawmaker for that. Similarly, how many of you have heard law of gravity? You have heard of law of gravity? You have heard of Newton? So here is my question to all of you. Did Newton make the law of gravity, or did he discover the law of gravity? Yes or no? Write down your answers. Did Newton discover law of gravity, or did he make the law? Why all of you are sending me a private message? You're not able to send it to everyone? I have no idea what to do. Oh, okay. All right, all right. Okay, I've changed the settings now. You can send a message to everyone. So everyone is able to see the message. So I've changed the setting. Yes, that's good. Change the setting, now you can send a message to everyone. Great. So as you're rightly saying, Newton had discovered, and here is my question to all of you. If Newton had discovered, who made the law of gravity? Of course, the law of gravity, then it has to be made by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and none other. That's the whole idea. So the second proof that we were talking about is for every law, there is a lawmaker. When you see the traffic laws, in your schools there are laws, so there is a person who has made those laws. Similarly, when you see this whole creation and the laws of the creation, it means there is a Supreme Lord in action. And proof number 3, let's continue ahead. Energy implies an energetic. Please look around your room right now. Turn your head 360 degree. Move your head. Just move your head around. Do you see a tube light? Do you see a bulb in your room? Look up the tube light or the bulb. Is it on? Yes? So my question to all of you, what is the source of energy? From where is the tube light or the bulb is getting its energy? From where is that tube light or bulb getting its energy? And the answer is the tube light or the bulb is getting its energy from the nearby transformer, and the transformer is getting its energy from powerhouse, and the powerhouse is getting its energy from dam. And finally, there is a person who is operating the dam. Do you all agree? There is a person sitting there who's operating the dam. Yes or no? Raise your hands, whoever I can see. And that's how, for an energy, there's always an energetic. There is a person behind. So for even a tube light or a bulb in our house, there is a person behind the source or source of that energy. Look around. Of course, you cannot see right now, it's raining outside. But tomorrow, when there is a sunrise, look at a sun. Of course, don't see the sun very carefully. You'll have issues with your eyes after a while. But the point is, look at the sun. Every day in the morning it rises, and it has been glowing for millions of years. What is a source of sun's energy then? For a bulb, the source is ultimately the man sitting in a dam producing electricity, and then it is getting transformed via the powerhouse transformer into your house. So who is producing this electricity or tremendous energy that sun produces? So our modern science tells us it's because of nuclear fusion. Fantastic, great, nuclear fusion. But here's my question, and Srila Prabhupada would put forward this question. If it is because of nuclear fusion, then who started the nuclear fusion? Isn't it? Like all of you are sitting on the Zoom class today, all of you or somebody had to start the session. Is it not the session just began to happen and all of you got involved into it? Somebody invited you for the forum, somebody informed you about the session. So there is always a person behind, and that's the whole idea. Just imagine you're looking and watching carefully at the session, and suddenly a stone comes flying and it goes right next to your ear and hits your screen. Boom! What would you say suddenly? A stone has come flying across your ears and it has hit your screen, maybe of your smartphone or the laptop. And there's a huge cracking sound. What would you ask? What would be the first question in your mind? Anyone? Anyone wants to say what comes to your mind? You can raise your hand. I will unmute you now. What is the first question that will come into your mind? Adi Lakshman, go ahead.
How it formed and from where it came from?
So you're going to ask who threw the stone, isn't it?
No.
Huh?
Hello?
Yes, Adi Lakshman.
Prabhuji?
If a stone hits your screen, what are you going to say?
We'll say that my God, what happened, from where it come from, and who made it? How it formed?
How it formed? No. I guess you're not getting the question or I'm not getting your answer. Jagannath, I'll come to you. Adi Lakshman seems confused here. Jagannath, go ahead. If a stone hits your screen right now, what are you?
Where the stone came from?
Yes.
Who threw the stone?
Who threw the stone? Jagannath is super excited today. Thank you, Jagannath. That's that's the whole point. All of you are going to ask about who threw the stone, which means there is a person, there is an energetic behind the energy, and that's the whole point. So these are the three, you can say, empirical or logical evidences. The first evidence is for a creation, every creation there is a creator. For every law, there is a lawmaker. And for energy, there is an energetic. And that's how we can prove the existence of God. Let's take to some challenges, the prominent challenges. When you talk to people, God exists, they're going to put forward two challenges to all of you. And you know what are those challenges? The very first challenge they're going to tell you or put forward to you is, you believe God exists. Let's imagine if Jagannath goes to his school and he tells to his friends, I believe in God. And his friends most probably going to ask him, Jagannath, if you think God exists, can you please show me God? They're going to raise a question like this. So what's an answer for it? What answer can you give? And let's discuss that if somebody asks you for that. Now people say, can you show me? What can we really see? You know, I see so many of you right now, those who are on my screen, all of you have a big specs. And if you take out a specs like me, please take out your specs and let's see how well can you see around. It's blurred now, right? So we can't see well, and now we are demanding to see God. What is our qualification? And when it becomes pitch dark, can you see even your own hand? Even our own hand is not visible to us when it is all dark. So how can we really demand, or how can we really ask anyone to show us God? So what are the evidences for it? Let's take a look. I will not get into the technicalities of it, but give you a simple thing. I'll not describe the principle here. Let's say there is a smartphone. Oops, it disappeared. So let's say there is a smartphone. When you see a smartphone, obviously the very first thing that will come to your mind, 1 second please, this is just running out. And how do I pause? Yes. Now imagine when you see this smartphone. By the way, which company is this smartphone? Does anyone know this smartphone? This is iPhone. Any one of you know who is the founder of iPhone? Does any one of you know who is the founder of iPhone? Okay, Utkarsh wants to give a try. Okay, let's see what Utkarsh has to say. Go ahead, Utkarsh.
Prabhuji, I think no, sorry, Steve Jobs.
Yeah, fantastic. It's Steve Jobs. That's correct. And the point is, when you see the product, when you see this iPhone, you immediately remember Steve Jobs because Steve Jobs is the founder of iPhone, yes? And that's the whole idea. Although you are not able to see Steve Jobs, but because you see iPhone, you understand who created iPhone. Similarly, some of you, I guess most of you would be aware about satellites. You know, we have the satellites, they fly up in the sky, they give us weather forecasts, and you know, we use it for different purposes. Now, who created this satellite? Of course, it's a human being, isn't it? In India, we have ISRO. In America, we have NASA, who creates technology like this, or satellites, which they flies in the sky and they tell us weather forecasts and other things. It helps in mining and also in many other things. So this satellite is being controlled by a ground station. If it is an Indian satellite, it would be controlled by one of the ground stations of ISRO. If it's an American satellite, it would be controlled by one of the ground stations of NASA, isn't it? So for this satellite, which is a tremendous technology, there are hundreds and thousands of engineers involved just to make sure that the satellite has a particular orbit and to make sure the satellite does not meet an accident, does not crashes with any other interstellar object. So they ensure the satellite is maintaining its trajectory. Now this satellite is flying in a sky. Similarly, there is another satellite, or you can call as a planet, which you all recognize called as planet Earth. Let's talk about planet Earth. Planet Earth is not only revolving, as the science says, around sun, but it's also rotating. And the speed of Earth's revolution around the sun, according to the science, is 60 times of a short bullet. 60 times of the speed of a short bullet. And here is my question to all of you. For a satellite, there is a ground station which controls the movement of a satellite. This massive planet Earth, which is floating in the sky for millions, billions, and trillions of years, revolving at such a great speed, who is controlling planet Earth? What is your answer? Who is in control of planet Earth, which is floating in this vast sky? For satellites, we have ground stations. What about planet Earth? Who is in control of planet Earth? Who is managing? Is it NASA? Or is there Supreme Lord in control? Or is it the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is actually controlling the movements of the planets? And that is the first answer. So people say, can you show me God? Then you talk to them about these evidences. Just like when you show an iPhone, immediately the person remembers Steve Jobs. When we are educated in this subject matter, when tomorrow or today evening, if the sky is clear, if you look at the planets, and if you look at the sun and the moon and the pole star and many other stars in the sky, and once you understand that they all are controlled by the Supreme Lord, as soon as you will see the sky, you will immediately remember who? Steve Jobs. Of course not. You'll remember the Supreme Lord, not the Steve Jobs, okay? That was the first point. Now, second thing, imagine you come back home. Again, I'll not explain the principle, but imagine you come back home and you see your father's car key on the table. When you see your father's car key, what will come to your mind? Immediately, your father will come in your mind. And you will think, is my father in house? Although you have not seen your father, but because you saw the car key, which you know belongs to your father, you would immediately remember the Lord. And that is the whole thing. Once we understand the science, once we get educated in the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita, we'll get to know that how everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the taste of water. So once we are educated in the subject matter, and when we drink water and when we feel the taste, we will immediately remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is the whole idea. So how do we learn about God? By studying scriptures. And that subject matter I'll speak a little ahead. So somebody says, can you show me God? You show them things which are seen by us. We may not have the ability to see the God, but we have the ability to see the God's nature. And by seeing the God's nature, we can understand God exists. That's the answer to the first question. Let's go to the second question, challenge. Who created God? I am created by my father. My father was created by his father. His father was created by his father, and goes back, goes back, goes back. Finally, who created the first human being? The first human being, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mamaevam su jiva loka jiva bhuta sanatana. According to Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am the source. Every living entity is my part and parcel here. So, how do we understand? How many of you have seen movies? Have you gone to a theater and have seen movies? All of you, please raise your hands. Of course, it's a very pity question. All of you would have seen a movie. I am not going to ask you which was the latest movie you saw, but I'm pretty sure some movie you would have seen. Imagine you're watching a movie. All of you know in a movie there is a hero, there is a heroine, and there is a villain, right? Or maybe you watch some toy movie, I don't know, the kids movie. Let's say the Harry Potter series. Even in the Harry Potter, there was a character by the name of Harry Potter, and there was some other characters, I don't remember the name of them. But are those characters are real or they are fictitious? The person who played the role of a Harry Potter in real life is not Harry Potter, he's somebody else, isn't it? So when you go and watch a movie, the movie has a time limit, let's say 2 hours. And then in that movie, there is a person called hero, heroine. And when the movie ends, those character ends. But there is one person who is independent of that movie, and that is the director. The director who has directed the movie is always present in that role. The role of a director does not end with the end of the movie, unlike the role of the actors or the actresses and so forth. Similarly, Krishna, he is the cause and the source of this creation. He is not affected like all of us are affected by our birth and death. He is the cause of all causes. He is independent of this whole creation. I'll give you a more simple example. Let's say you're traveling into a train and you're sitting in a 7th bogie. And if I ask you, what is pulling the train? Or what is pulling the bogie? What answer would you give? Please write down into the chat box. If you're traveling in a train and you're in the 7th bogie, and I ask you, what is moving the train? What is moving your bogie ahead? What answer would you give? All of you would say engine. Great. The engine is doing that. But the point here is, the bogie in which you are sitting, that bogie is pulled by an immediate bogie which is connected to it, right? The 6th bogie which is ahead of the 7th bogie is pulling the 7th bogie. And that 6th bogie is pulled by the 1st bogie, and the 1st bogie is pulled by the engine, which is right in front of the train. And the point here is, all the bogies are dependent on each other, but the engine is independent. Is anyone pulling the engine, or engine is running by itself? Nobody is pulling the engine, right? And that is how we can understand the God is cause of all causes, and there is no one, a cause of the Supreme Lord. And that is the definition of God. In other words, Lord is an ultimate cause. And this is two very important questions, and these are the summary answers for it. And I'll take a quick last discussion on the subject matter. So, can you show me God and who created God? We gave this particular two answers for it. Finally, the last part of this discussion, how to gain perfect knowledge about God. How can I gain perfect knowledge? Because by this time we have established God exists. We have given you three reasons. Law means lawmaker, creation means creator, energy means energetic. And we had answered two prominent questions. Can you show me God? And who is the cause of God? Now, the knowledge is we've got some understanding, but we don't have the full understanding yet. So my question is how to gain perfect knowledge about God. So here, let me ask this question. How a child can know who is his father? What would you say to a child? Let's say some child comes to you, uncle, who is my father? Please help me. What would you tell that child? Come on, go and ask your mother. Your mother will tell you. That's the whole point here. If we want to know about the Supreme Father, our eternal Father, Lord Shri Krishna, we have to approach the mother. And what is the mother? And that is refers to scriptures. Books, texts like Bhagavad Gita, which is called as a Gita Upanishad, the Sar of all Upanishad, are said to be mother, because when we study scriptures, then we understand who our Father is. And how do we study scriptures? We study scriptures coming into a bona fide parampara. Of course, this is a little subject which I will not go into detail, but just to give you a little idea about it, we study scriptures under the guidance of bona fide teachers. Bona fide means they're connected to an authorized parampara. Just like all of you, how many of you have heard the name of IIT? Raise your hands, please. The kids have heard the name of IIT? All of you, please switch on your camera so I see that. Raise your hand high up, maybe both, so I can see you clearly. How many of you have heard of Indian Institute of Technology, IITs? Okay. And how many of you have been advised by your parents to get admission in IIT only? All of you are already. Adira is showing both of the ends. Okay, great. So many of you have been already advised, take an admission in IIT. And here is my question to all of you. Why? Because IIT is a very reputed college, is a government college, because it is properly authorized. And that's the reason our parents or your parents have advised you. Similarly, we want to study about God. We can learn about God when we hear about the message of God in a parampara which is started by God. So ISKCON comes under a parampara which was started by Krishna himself, and it is called as Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Parampara. Krishna gave this knowledge to Brahma, and Brahma gave this knowledge to Narad Muni. Narad Muni gave this knowledge to Vyasadev, and Vyasadev gave this knowledge to Parikshit Maharaj, Sukdev Maharaj, Sukdev Goswami, and Sukdev Goswami gave this knowledge to Parikshit Maharaj, and like that in parampara it has continued. And that's how we can gain knowledge. And with that, we come to a conclusion of our today's session. Does God exist? Where we saw the proof of Lord's existence, three evidences. We saw two challenges. Can you show me God? And is there any one cause of God? And lastly, how to gain perfect knowledge about God? For that, we have to study books like Bhagavad Gita. And our discussions in Mahabharata are also aimed at helping build your faith in Vedic scriptures and also faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So with that, we come to a conclusion. However, I have not addressed one question about Ishwar. So we have today covered the first subject matter of Bhagavad Gita, Ishwar. But there is another question to it. Okay, Prabhuji, I understood. Ishwar exists. Bhagwan is there. But who is that Bhagwan? Who is that Supreme Personality of Godhead? We will discuss that in a future session. So when we meet next time, I believe tomorrow we'll be meeting. Tomorrow is Friday. So tomorrow we'll be speaking about the second theme of Bhagavad Gita, and that is reincarnation. Is there a life after death? And was there a previous life of all of us before we came into this body? And many other things. Of course, I'm not going to talk about ghosts because some of you will get scared. But if some kids are very interested, they can ask me privately and I'll tell you some nice ghost stories. Okay? But don't get scared. Some of you are already getting scared. You're jumping on your chairs. All right, all right. I will not speak about ghosts, but I'll speak about reincarnation. Some of you look super excited on the subject. So, all right. With that, we come to a conclusion for today's discussion. Does God exist? And tomorrow when we meet, as many of you are messaging me, you want to hear some ghost stories. So I'll tell you some fantastic ghost stories. No, I will not tell you. Otherwise, you will get scared. How many of you will be scared? You'll be scared or no? Or no scared? Are you serious about it? So let's see. Let's take a vote. Let's take a vote. How many of you would like to hear some ghost stories? Oh, really? Everyone have their hands high up. Are you serious? No, I need a recommendation letter from your parents because I don't want your parents to complain to me, Prabhu, my kid is scared. He couldn't sleep in the night. So you get a letter signed from your parents that, yes, Prabhu, you can tell our kid, my son or a daughter, just few, 2, 3 very scary stories. We have no problem. You can email me. You have, all of you have my email address. And then I'll tell you. Anyways, I'm just joking about it. We'll speak about reincarnation tomorrow. With that, thank you so much for joining us for today. And in case if you have some questions, we'll open the forum for questions. All right. As such, we close the session for today. We'll meet tomorrow. Those who have questions, they can stay behind, and those who want to leave, they can leave. Hare Krishna. Questions, please. And everyone who wants to ask, they can raise their, they can switch on their videos. So, yeah, I wish you can, by accident, I switched on your video. I was trying for others. Yeah. Okay, who has a hands up? Ethereal. Ethereal, interesting. Go ahead. What's your name?
I just wanted to ask. My name is Ethereal.
Oh, really, Ethereal? Yes, Ethereal. Where are you from?
From Boston.
Oh, you're from Boston. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I saw your entry. You took part in painting competition, is it? Yes or no?
Yes, you took part, right? Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. Ethereal, please go ahead. What's your question?
That I just wanted to ask that what your email address is.
Oh, you want to get me a recommendation letter from your father for ghost stories, huh? Okay, I'll just type it in the chat box. So let me just type it in the chat box. You can see my email address. msdas@iskonpune.in. Okay, Ethereal, you have my email address.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, who else? Have a question here. Raghav, we couldn't answer your question yesterday, so we'll give you a chance to do first. Go ahead.
Prabhuji, this question just struck to my mind a week ago that during our Ramayana sessions, you told that modern science says that like moon is a moon is not like a base or like that, and sun, they are actually demigods. So
Yeah.
how did like humans go on the moon?
Oh, you're asking about the moon landing controversy. Raghav, I'll have to have a separate section on that with you. Okay. So, Raghav, have you seen Avengers?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen the Avengers. I've seen the trailer. So, you know, Avengers or movies like this, like say Independence Day. Have you seen Independence Day? When I was not probably your age, probably a little elder to you, in '96, the first series of Independence Day had come and I had seen that time. I was probably maybe your age, I guess. When I saw that movie, I couldn't believe. That movie showed about alien invasion and it looked so real. So when we talk about moon landing, which America did back in 1967 or 68, I really don't know if I need to believe in them because they are so good in making so brilliant movies. You know, you saw Avengers, right, Raghav?
Yes,
Doesn't it
Prabhuji.
look so real? Doesn't the alien
Yeah.
look so real?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so, you know, they gave us the video proof of moon landing. They had a pictures of moon landing. How do I believe on that? I can't believe. I would put my faith in what scripture says. And okay, even if they had done a moon landing in 1967, here is my open question to all of you, those who have a question on that. Why there had not been any second moon landing after that? Early this year, India tried, I believe, right? India had sent their own space
Yeah,
station, but
I guess.
it was not a man mission. It was a robotic mission. Even India could not send a man, and there is no recorded case of America sending another man mission on moon. So I believe it was the beginning of the movie with that moon landing case, not a reality. All right.
Yes,
Okay, let's
Prabhuji.
go to somebody else.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raghav.
Thank
Who else have a question for today? Chandrika, go ahead.
Prabhuji, in my school, I have Muslim friends, but they are good. So how do I make them believe that Krishna is the Supreme Lord? Because many people say that their God is only the Supreme Lord. So how do we make people believe that Krishna is Supreme?
Which class are you in, Chandrika?
I'll go in 6th now.
You're going to go in 6th. The best way you can help them to become more God conscious is give them Krishna Prasadam. Okay, tell your mother to cook an extra chapati for them, nice, delicious chapati, and you feed them that prasadam, which your mother must have offered to the Lord, or maybe you or father can do that, and go and give them Krishna Prasadam. Don't talk to them about philosophy. You know how Srila Prabhupada started the whole movement? Prabhupada cooked very nice, delicious prasadam for everyone. And they loved prasadam so much that they would eat, so much they would eat that they could not get up. Because they could not get up, Prabhupada said, well, if you cannot get up, why don't you stay here? So they decided to stay with Prabhupada. So if you feed them nice, delicious prasadam, Chandrika, so they would also begin to follow. Okay.
Prabhuji, in my school, they even teach Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Dashavatara, but still they don't believe.
Still who? The Muslims.
Yeah, my Muslim teachers, we just in grade 3 we learned about Dashavatara, and in grade 4 we learned about Ramayana, and in grade 5 learning about Mahabharata.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people who cannot be just given Krishna consciousness. I would say they're just unfortunate. I don't want to speak much on the subject matter of Muslim for that. I will just make one comment. I believe I see your mother sitting behind. Is that so? Okay, so I would leave on to her to explain to you more in detail, but I leave this one line here. In Muslim religion, there is no freedom to choose what you want to practice. If you're born in a Muslim family, then you have to die believing that you are a Muslim. The moment you say you aren't a Muslim, that is your last day on this earth. All right. So if you look a little confused, but your mother, I see she's nodding her head. So maybe I would request her to give you the puppet. Okay. All right. I'll leave it over here on this. Hare Krishna. Who's next now? And we see who? Abhay Charan. Oh, Abhay Charan ji, how are you?
I'm Prabhuji, how are you?
I am so blissful to see your big smile. Yeah, your internet is a problem, Abhay Charan. I can't hear you well. Go ahead again. Haribol.
Yes, Prabhuji, my questions in yesterday's class, Prabhuji.
The Krishna, if he is Arjuna elder, he can also great warrior na Prabhuji in the Kurukshetra.
Can you please repeat that again?
Prabhuji, why did Krishna become Arjuna's charioteer? He can also take the place in Kurukshetra na Prabhuji in the war.
Oh, so let me repeat your question. So Abhay Charan is saying, why did Krishna become a charioteer of Arjuna? Is that your question?
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
So as you know, we had discussed before, Lord Shri Krishna had promised that you can either accept me or accept my Narayani Sena. But if you accept me, I will not fight in the war. So Arjuna chose Krishna. And then Arjuna asked my Krishna that, my dear Lord, you're going to be on our side. So why don't you become a charioteer? And now Krishna has not become a charioteer of Arjuna for the first time. Krishna had been in the role of charioteer at the time of Khanda Prasth. When Arjuna, on the request of Krishna, well, actually on the request of Agni Devta, they had burned the whole Khanda Vraksh. That time, Lord Shri Krishna was again the charioteer of Arjuna. So actually, in those days, the kings many times, just like the son of Virat, when Duryodhana and Kauravas had attacked Virat Pradesh because they got to know the Pandavas are there. So then the son of Virat had become a charioteer for Arjuna. So like that. So this great prince and the kings, if they're not able to fight, sometimes they will take the role of a charioteer. So Arjuna requested Krishna, who could be the best guide for me, and thus please you become a charioteer. Okay? Haribol. Let's go to next. Rishabh Dev. To you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, did you
Yes.
try to answer my question which I had last week about who is the commander in chief of Kauravas? Because in 1.2 purport
Oh, yes. I'll see that. I have a copy of Bhagavad Gita right now here. What was that? 1.2, right? Unmute yourself. Yeah, go ahead.
Prabhuji, it was 1.2 purport.
1.2 purpose. 1.2. Which line? Unmute yourself again.
Prabhuji, it was Prabhuji, 14th, 15th. Prabhuji, it was 14th or 15th.
Okay, let me just see. What does it say here? Oh, okay. I see that here. Sanjaya therefore informed the king that his son Duryodhan, after seeing the military force of the Pandavas, at once went to the commander-in-chief Dronacharya to inform him of the real position. Although Duryodhan is mentioned as a king, well, interesting, because in Mahabharata, it's actually Bhishma Pitama is mentioned. So I will do one thing at my side. I will take a look at the commentary of our acharyas also just to see. Maybe just a subject matter of a detail, which means it could be just the name could be here and there because it's not such a big thing in terms of when we talk of history, who played the what role, who was actually a commander, which is not such a big thing that affects the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. But I'll look into the commentary because the Mahabharata version says it was Bhishma Pitamaha, because when Bhishma Pitama died on the 10th day, then on 11th day, Dronacharya became the commander-in-chief. And then after then Dronacharya died, I believe he died on the 14th or the 15th day, then Karna became a commander-in-chief. All right? So I would still look into the Acharya's commentary also. And so let's not get into too much detail, worry about it, because it doesn't affect the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. But just for your sake, I'll look into what Acharya speaks on it. All right, Rishabh?
Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Who is next here for us? And we go to Radhakund, then we have Utkarsh, we have who else? We have Dhruv, we have Jagannath also, we have Riyansh also. Okay, we'll be coming to all of you. Radhakund, please go ahead quickly. Okay, looks like your internet is done. Utkarsh.
Prabhuji, are there aliens on the moon?
No, they're not aliens. They're citizens like you and I on the moon.
So, Prabhuji, some people believe that there are aliens on moon.
What is the definition of alien, Utkarsh? Alien means what we don't understand. Alien means the living species on other planets. Well, if that's the case, you can call them aliens. But they're very much like you and I. But they're very, very powerful. They are advanced human race.
Prabhuji, in some channels like in history, they discover the aliens. So, are there really some humans type or aliens?
No, not all the aliens. What they talk about are humans. You know, it depends on from which planet. Moon planet, because there is a Soma god. You know, so that's there. We have our living beings like humans, but there are also lower planets. You know, what we call as Patala, there's Sutala, Patala, Rasatal, Talatal, like that. There are lower planets.
Prabhuji, there are many planets in the universe, and but just these 8 planets are the main. That's why they tell in the solar system.
No. They're not like that. This whole universe is filled with life on every planet. What you're calling as Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Mars, and all that, that's a different idea. I don't want to get into cosmology with you right now. If in case I know all of your age group, then for the senior age group, we can have a session on cosmology.
Prabhuji, I am 10 years.
Oh, you're 10 years. Okay, I don't know what's the age. 10 years means which class, Utkarsh?
Prabhuji, 6th.
Okay, wait until 8th. I'll teach you cosmology then. Okay.
Prabhuji.
Okay, who else we have? We had Radhakund. Somewhere she had raised her hand. I see you now. Go ahead, Radhakund. You have to unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, I had a question that what if we die and ISKCON says that we go to hell or we go to heaven, whatever we think about, we become that in the next birth. What if that never happened, that really there is Krishna?
Radhakund, your question is not clear. The line is breaking. I believe you have a little internet issue. Maybe you can type in the meantime. I'll take to someone else's question because I could hardly hear you. All right. Let's go to Neil Madhav, and we are coming to every one of you. Dhruv, I'm coming quickly. Neil Madhav, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Is that Aradhana?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, in the like Nursing Dev, like it's like Krishna Leela only, that Nursing Dev killed Hiranyakashipu. So there was Shukracharya also.
Not audible. I heard Nasimadev killed Hiranyakashipu. What's next?
Next, Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yes.
There was Shukracharya also. So did Shukracharya see Nursing Dev? Did he see God?
Well, Shukracharya definitely saw Vamana Avatar. You know, when Vamanadev had come to ask for the 3 pieces of land from his disciple Bali Maharaj, so Shukracharya had seen Vamanadev, and Shukracharya had seen Lord in different incarnations before also. In case of Nasimadev, I'm not sure about it, if Shukracharya was available there, around there or not. But Shukracharya at least knew who God is. Okay?
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Dhruv.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, it's 8:15. So.
Oh, I have another meeting now. I'll take a quick question from Dhruv, and Jagannath, his hand is up, and Riyansh. Yes, I'll take your 3 questions. Real quickly.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to say that there is, I had one more evidence about that God exists.
Wonderful.
One evidence is that when someone asks you that, can you show me God? So we'll say no, right? So then we can counter question him that, we can ask everyone else around him that, can you see this person's brain? So if they say no, you tell this person does not have a brain.
Hi, Bo. Thank you. Thank you, Dhruv. Nice. Be careful, now to whom you say that. They may feel a little insulted. But a good answer. Don't tell this to your professor or teacher. You can tell your friends.
No, Prabhuji, I got this thing from a book. In that child was telling
Yes,
this to
yes.
his
That's a
professor
correct thing.
only.
I was just saying, I was just joking about, but I was just thinking, careful whom you tell this.
Yes,
You know?
okay, Prabhuji.
So, great. Okay,
Haribol,
who's next
Prabhuji.
here? Hare Krishna, Jagannath. And we have Riyash. Yes, Jagannath.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, where can we get that ghost stories?
I don't know where can you get it. If you get me a letter of recommendation, then I'll tell you. All right.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
in the chat box you have given your email address. Why you have given that?
Because Ethereal had asked me.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Jagannath. Riyansh.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So my question is, who, when Karna was died, who is the commander of chief in Kauravas?
When Karna died, the next day Duryodhan died.
Then Dushasan.
Dushasan was, I guess, killed before Karna. I don't exactly remember right now, but it was the end of the battle. It was on the same day when all these great last warriors had died. We'll speak about it when we come on those days of battle, okay?
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
I agree. Vishwaguru, is there someone who is not able to switch on their video, but they have put a message? Ethereal, you have something to say. Go ahead.
Was Dhritarashtra in the war?
No, he was watching the show. He was watching the live cricket match between Pandavas and the Kauravas, sitting in his comfortable palace. Okay?
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vishwaguru, is that okay? Nanda Kumar, last one.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Listening?
How did Barbalik live when Lord Krishna killed him?
Oh, that we'll discuss when we come to the subject matter of War of Mahabharata. Okay? All right. Anyone, those whose videos are off, in case I'm not able to switch on their videos, Vishwaguru, nothing, right?
Nothing, yes.
The chat boxes. All right. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna willing will be tomorrow evening. Haribol.